Chapter 10. Sky woke slowly. Her head hurt. She had the vaguest recollection of being sick, of medical staff fussing around her. Eyes opening in dismay, she started to sit up, realizing that she was in bed. But her head swam so dizzily she flopped down flat again, struggling to overcome another bout of nausea. "Thank goodness you're back in the land of the living," a familiar voice commented, and she focused on her sister, who was standing beside the bed, clutching Shona on one hip. "I came very close to strangling Enzo." "Why?" she whispered, stretching out her arms to her little sister, who was trying to break free of Alana's hold to reach her. "Give her to me." Shona subsided into a clinging heap by her side, tucked between the bed bars and Sky's slight body. "Where's Brody?" "He's with Enzo." "What happened?" "The car crashed, didn't it?" she whispered. Alana sat down by the bed and sighed. "It tipped over. Matteo actually did a very good job of saving you on that hill, but you bashed your head and then the airbags went off and bruised you. You arrived in an ambulance. Matteo was a bit shaken up, but he was all right and he phoned Enzo from the scene." Relieved that the older man was not hurt and that someone had remembered to pick up Brody from his playgroup, Sky whispered, "What did Enzo do?" "Where do you want me to start?" Alana groaned. "When he got a speeding ticket on the way to the hospital and got a police escort with sirens? When he created a scene in A&E and they threatened to throw him out? Nobody does drama like Enzo. If you'd been dead, Enzo would have thrown himself off the top floor. Currently, your husband is fully occupied dealing with the police inquiry into the accident," an older man in a white coat told her cheerfully as a nurse joined them to run through routine checks. The consultant told her that she'd had a CT scan while unconscious and ran through her symptoms with her before asking her questions to check that she wasn't suffering from any mental confusion. Those completed, he remarked that the nausea and dizziness would take time to recede, and that it would be best for her to spend the night in the hospital, and once she got home, she was to rest for a few days, to aid her recovery. He added with a straight face that he didn't believe that the services of the top neurosurgeon on standby in London would be required. Sky rolled her eyes, and even that small facial movement hurt. The nurse was plumping her pillows to help her sit up when Enzo appeared in the doorway, Brody clinging to his hand. Enzo had lost his tie, and his lean, dark features were taut and unusually pale, but his strained, dark eyes lit up like golden flames when he saw her awake. Her little brother tore free and raced up to the bed, only to be restrained by Alana. "Careful, Brody," she said. "Sky has a sore head." "Oopsie," Sky confirmed, touching her fingers to her head and her face. "Oopsie." Brody calmed as Alana lifted Shona from her side. "Kiss better?" "S," Enzo breathed, striding forward to lift Brody up so that he could kiss his big sister. "Gentle now." "You've taken 10 years off my life," Enzo told her unsteadily. Brilliant dark eyes welded to her bruised and swollen face. "Most people come around quickly after a concussion, but you didn't, and I was afraid that you would go into a coma and end up eternally asleep like the Sleeping Beauty," Alana interposed with a hint of amusement. "But you know what it took to wake her up, and your husband was more than equal to the challenge." "I'm fine, Enzo." "You are many things right now, but fine is not one of them. The airbags deployed and bruised you up because you're so small. When I saw you lying on that trolley in the emergency department, you were so white and still." Enzo shook his tousled dark head to shake free of that recollection, and visibly swallowed hard. "I'll take the children back to the house," Alana announced. "The nanny will be staying on until Sky has recovered." Sky frowned at Enzo. "I'll be right as rain by tomorrow." "You'll have to take it easy for a few days, and you can't do that looking after Brody and Shona." "For once, I'm going to look after you," Enzo proclaimed. "I'll work from home for the rest of the week." "That's not necessary," Sky began. "Let him. It'll make him feel better," Alana whispered as she gave her pale sister a gentle hug. "See you soon?" Silence fell as the room emptied. "A neurosurgeon on standby?" Sky questioned in disbelief. Enzo stood his ground and straightened his broad shoulders, not an ounce of embarrassment on his dark, strong face. "I was really worried about you." "What did the police want?" "They want to check over the car. The arson at the factory has made them suspicious." "It should have been me in that car," he breathed tautly. "I wish it had been." "Well, I don't. I'm grateful that you're all in one piece. Matteo did a great job coming down that hill. And amazingly, he stayed calm. He was a special ops soldier when he was younger." "I'm sorry. I've messed up your whole day," Sky murmured. "Is that a joke?" Enzo asked tightly. "No, of course it's not a joke. I know how busy you are right now. The last thing you needed was a dead wife?" Enzo sliced in rawly. And it could have been all of you in that car. Thankfully, it wasn't. When I saw you lying there, I realized something very important. I almost lost you. The shock was good for me. Enzo paced restively at the foot of the bed, his bronzed profile tense. We need to have a serious talk tomorrow. Sky swallowed thickly. About what? About us. This marriage. Enzo made a slashing motion with one lean hand in a gesture of frustration. A chilling quiver of alarm ran down her taut spine. I've made a hash of it, and now I'm probably going to make an even bigger hash by breaking the rules. But this is not the moment to discuss all that. Rules? What rules? He insisted on staying with her, and, try though she did to remain awake. She drifted off to sleep, only opening her eyes when a nurse came to do checks on her again, and offer her something to eat. Go home, Enzo, she urged then. You look exhausted. Have you even eaten since this morning? I bought snacks in the cafeteria for Brody and Alana. Her heart melted inside her chest because she was willing to bet that he had seen to everyone else's needs before his own. She knew how her self-proclaimed spoiled, selfish playboy operated, and he was exactly the opposite of what he said he was. Her eyes stung like mad, and she wanted to slap herself for getting so sentimental and overwhelmed by her emotions. But she couldn't help it when she loved him so much. And what did he intend to discuss about their marriage? He had broken the rules? What rules? Had he worked out that they had grown too close to easily separate? Did he feel the need to remind her that they were still on the road to an eventual divorce? Or even worse, had she betrayed the strength of her own feelings? Why are you crying? Enzo sprang out of his seat and settled down on the side of the bed. I'm not crying. I think it's just the aftermath of the accident. A bit of shock or whatever. She framed jerkily. Just ignore me. A blunt forefinger traced the path of a tear down her cheek. I've never been able to ignore you. I did try at the beginning before I got in too deep. Too deep? We're not about to discuss that now. You're not fit, Enzo asserted, vaulting upright again, glittering night-dark eyes locked to her troubled face. Get a good night's sleep, and we'll talk tomorrow. If you're planning to ditch me, do it now. I'm not that fragile, Sky declared, squaring her slight shoulders. Enzo surveyed her in wonderment. Why would I ditch you? You're my wife. Revealingly, he hesitated for a moment before grudgingly adding the qualifier, sort of my wife. A sort of a wife isn't a real wife, and we both know that, Sky told him flatly, crushing down the jolt of pain that had pierced her when he'd chosen to be precise enough to make that distinction. Enzo gave her an intense appraisal, something of his inner turmoil etched in his rigid features and the unalloyed darkness of his gaze. We'll talk tomorrow. He felt guilty about wanting out of their marriage, she thought wretchedly. He was afraid of hurting or upsetting her and was determined not to do so when she was in a hospital bed, banged up from an accident. Or maybe he was planning to return sooner to Italy and was worried about how that would affect her adoption plans for Brody and Shona. Could his attitude to her change so quickly? Enzo wasn't moody, but he was volatile. He wasn't used to restrictions either, she acknowledged ruefully. And there were few living situations more restricted than that of a married man with young children. Well, whatever his decision, she would take it on the chin and stay strong. The next day, when she was being discharged, Sky dressed with care in the clothes that she had specified by text that Enzo bring with him when he collected her. Only her hand emerged from behind the bathroom door to reach for the bag. You don't need to bother with makeup, Enzo told her from his side of the door. Oh, yes, I do. She had been horrified by the reflection that had met her in the mirror first thing. Her hair was a bird's nest, and her face was puffy, her eyes pink. She looked awful, and thought it would hardly be surprising if Enzo had looked at her the night before and wondered what he was doing with her. Dressed, with her hair tamed and a little cosmetic magic applied, she at least looked presentable. I just want to get you home, Enzo told her, tucking her with care into a brand new SUV. I think you should go straight to bed. I'm already fed up with lying in bed. I'm not dizzy or sick anymore. Whatever you've got to say to me, just get it over with, she urged tightly. Not in the car, Enzo said stubbornly, lean brown hands flexing around the steering wheel. But I should mention that your ex may be behind the arson at the factory. Apparently, there's evidence that his car was parked nearby in the middle of the night. The police suspect that he has an axe to grind with me. Oh, my word. Sky covered her shaken face with spread hands. It's not your responsibility. Don't let him overshadow our lives. Put your ordeal with him behind you and don't look back. That was easier said than done, Sky reflected unhappily. Richie would never even have known of Enzo's existence had she not moved into his house and started working for him. Of course, she felt guilty. The house was unusually quiet. Where are the children? Isabel took the kids to that indoor play park in town. Equipped with a cup of coffee, Sky sat down in the sitting room. Enzo hovered restlessly by the door. For a moment, she simply feasted her eyes on him. The lean, strong face with the classic features that had mesmerized her from their very first meeting. Sexual awareness lurched low in her body, and she was embarrassed by her susceptibility. She couldn't ever look at Enzo without thinking of how it felt when he kissed her and touched her, or without noticing how the energy in the room flared in his high-wire presence. "I'll keep it brief," Enzo promised tautly. "When I first mentioned marriage to you, I attached a lot of absurd conditions to the agreement, but everything's changed, at least for me. It has. I want to keep you." Her brow indented. "As in, I want it to be a proper marriage. I want us to be permanent." Sky swallowed with difficulty. "Permanent?" Her lilac eyes flew wide in her heart-shaped face because she was stunned by that announcement. "But, obviously I'm in love with you." "Crazy in love with you," Enzo breathed in a roughened undertone, spreading his hands wide in emphasis. "Everyone else saw it but me. I didn't realize. I didn't get it. I didn't understand why I couldn't wait to get back here to you and the children every night. I honestly believed I wouldn't ever fall for anyone again, and then it happened without me registering it." He winced at that acknowledgement. "Crazy in love with me?" Sky repeated with an arrested expression on her flushed face. "Perhaps I'm not very attuned to what goes on in my head when it comes to the emotional stuff. At the beginning, I genuinely believed that I only wanted to help you. But the more time I spent with you, the more I wanted you, the more I liked you, and the more reasons I found to keep us together." Sky nodded with a dreamy smile, now starting to dispel the once tense line of her mouth. "So, my engagement ring isn't only window dressing?" "No. I wanted a ring on your finger, a ring that told everyone that you were mine, but I didn't want to admit that because it went against the rules I set at the start. We were supposed to be like friends with benefits, practical, unemotional, no attachment. You picked the wrong girl." "I'm seriously attached to you," Sky admitted chokily, the turmoil of her roused emotions bringing tears to her eyes. "I was so scared of getting hurt, but I couldn't stop myself feeling more and more for you every day. And when we were in the Maldives, well..." Sky plucked at her dress and evaded his gaze. "You made me feel so special. Are you saying you love me too?" Sky rose from her seat and closed both arms around him. "I was scared of losing you. I thought maybe you were panicking and you'd taken on too much with us all, and that you wanted out of our marriage again. And last night you said we had to have a serious talk about us. How much sleep do you think I got after that?" She struck his shoulder weakly with her fist in punishment for that sleepless night. "Sometimes you don't think stuff through, Enzo. Of course I assumed it was something bad and that I was going to lose you. Always such a pessimist. You couldn't lose me if you tried. I will always be here for you. I have never felt like this before, so committed to one person that sometimes it's a struggle to stand you being out of my sight," he confessed ruefully. "I don't ever want to let you go. When you got hurt yesterday, it felt like my world had come crashing down. I attempted to picture my life without you and I couldn't. But I'm okay," she reminded him firmly, hands straying inside his jacket to the warmth of his chest, lingering over the muscles indented there, reveling in the warmth. And now she finally felt as though she had a proper right to touch him, to make her own moves without fear of what she might be revealing. "I love you so much, and tonight, I'm going to show you." Lining his fingers with hers, Enzo walked her towards the stairs. "I'm out of bounds until you get medical clearance. You can forget that. The way I see it, I got medical clearance the moment I left the hospital, and this is a very special day. And, right now, we're alone in the house. Sky, I love you, but..." "No buts?" "I don't want to wait until tonight." On the landing, she kissed him with all the passion she had often tried to tone down. Enzo lifted her off her feet with a groan. "This is why I love you. You're stubborn and fiery, and you stand up to me, so I suppose I have to compromise." "Compromise will be so worth your while," Sky told him sunnily. A wicked grin sloshed Enzo's wide, sensual mouth as he settled her down on their bed. "You're mine now," he said thickly. Sky yanked him down on the bed by the edge of his jacket. "You're mine too." Enzo doffed his jacket with enthusiasm and embarked on his shirt buttons. Sky shimmied out of her stretchy dress, and he tugged her into his possessive arms and held her tight. "I've got you." Sky buried her head in his shoulder, loving the smell of his skin and his hair, feeling like the luckiest woman in the world. He shifted lithely against her, acquainting her with his arousal, and excitement kindled. His lips connected with hers, and the slow burn began in her pelvis, making her strain into even closer connection. And for a long time, there was mostly silence, broken only by occasional gasps and sighs and mutterings, until they both lay replete in each other's arms. "I'll love you as long as I live," Enzo swore hoarsely. "So you have to live forever." Sky felt ecstatically happy for the first time ever, awash with emotion and hazy, wonderful dreams of the future. Possibly a baby in a year or two? Oh, definitely. Haven't Brody and Shona turned you off in the slightest? No, they taught me that I love having a family. We may move to Italy once the adoptions are finalized, but it's not set in stone, Enzo murmured lazily. We'll see how we both feel when the time comes.